and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of this tech conversation, you can find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za and email. You can also use the hashtag SABC Network. Today, our Twitter poll is asking who you think should protect new tech gadgets from criminals in township schools. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Here's what's coming up in the show today. We find out about Memeza, a tech solution that helps victims of crime. As the government is introducing state-of-the-art equipment in schools, they seem to get stolen. And various African countries switched off the internet in the last 2 weeks. I spoke to Professor Nyasha Mboti from the University of Johannesburg about that one. He says this should make us reflect on the quality of conversations we're having online. But first, let's start with your technology and social media news. Now, crime is high in South Africa. A woman by the name of Tulim Tetwa has created a crime-fighting solution called Memeza. She said it was after she couldn't assist when her sister was attacked in Tembisa. The solution lets others when your home is being burgled or when you are under attack.
A new security system, Memeza, which aims to bring emergency services right into the palm of our hands, is adding a new dimension of safety by reducing emergency response time. The system has been hailed by Deep Kloof residents, with some elderly people saying they feel much safer.
Before
the Memeza alarm system was installed in my house, I was a victim of crime. Now I can call police whenever I am in trouble. They can respond very quickly.
The system allows for the transmission of a panic signal to police and other pre-programmed numbers in case of an emergency. It connects instantly with emergency services and shows them the exact location of a person in need.
It's a community-based solution that installs community alarm systems into the homes of the vulnerables. The idea was born out of a crime situation. I was a victim of crime for a very long time, but I did nothing. I just accepted it as a status quo in South Africa until 2012, March.
Law enforcement agencies say after the launch of Memeza, they have seen decrease in the number of reported crimes in the area. It also reduces emergency response time.
It helped us a lot when coming to the response time, because of basically since we have Memezas installed around the area, when crime is about to happen or is happening, we normally get to the situation when the crime is happening, unlike if the crime has already happened, because normally we've got the signals through the cell phones. Our sector vans get the messages as well. But what I normally do, and our community in blue, they are under the patrollers of the CPF patrollers, community in blue. We've got the team which is responding on Memeza alarms, and they do the patrol normally. When we get the signal of the Memeza, because of the SMS give us the information, which says an elderly is maybe outnumbered.
While security applications like Memeza are seen as solutions, law enforcement agencies say people need to be vigilant at all times.
Let's go back to that very South African challenge of crime, which seems to be hindering the introduction of smart classrooms in schools. Gauteng Education MEC says most schools in some communities get broken into. Recently, tech devices were stolen from a school in the township of Tsakane. Recently, as he delivered the ANC election manifesto, President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke about preparing young people for the fourth industrial revolution.
Our education in the end must prepare young people
for the workplace that is being rapidly transformed by technological change. Occupations that have existed for decades may not exist tomorrow. Skills that are taught today may have little value in the near future. We must prepare for the world of work of tomorrow.
This means introducing new technologies in schools. This is already being done in Gauteng, as there are schools with smart classrooms. Parents are excited about this.
I work in an environment where there's no paper, so why not the kids?
I'm sure the kids will have lots of fun.
But there is a setback. Criminals recently broke into a school in Tsakane and stole laptops, tablets, and other equipment needed for this to happen. The Education MEC says the community must reveal who the criminals are.
Because if they don't, then we have to take out the entire expensive equipment from that community, which is something that we don't want to. This equipment belongs to that community. We are in majority. We can't be terrorized by fewer people.
The computer stolen had only been there for just a few days. The government is asking communities to protect such equipment. Let's leave South Africa for a while. Huawei has launched an ICT skills competition in Senegal in search of tech talent.
China's leading information and communication technology solution provider Huawei has for the first time partnered with Senegal's Ministry of Higher Education and Research to launch an ICT competition with the aim of finding tech talent and help Senegal become an African ICT hub.
It's an opportunity for our students to practice and compare themselves to other students around the world. They'll be able to measure the studies they do, to measure the skills they have.
With the rise in technology and need for development, the tech giant will help promote an environment that allows students to attain the skills they need to provide solutions to a wide range of innovative infrastructure projects.
As every young student, I aspire to integrate this kind of innovative projects. I plan to participate representing my country. It will be a big challenge for me to go abroad and represent my country.
Kenya police have urged people not to spread old images on social media as if they are part of the latest attack by Al-Shabaab. The attack happened in a hotel complex a few days ago. Often when there are big events, old images resurface on social media as if they are new. This has happened with xenophobic violence in South Africa as well. Kenyan police say they've realized that sympathizers of the attackers are also using social media to share unrelated images as if they are from the recent attack.
At this juncture, we would want to caution members of the public that sympathizers of these criminals have taken to the internet using old and quite disturbing images, all of which have nothing to do with today's incident, in an attempt to spread needless fear and despondency amongst members of the public. We therefore wish to urge everyone not to share, forward, retweet, or otherwise spread these pieces of disturbing information or images, as in doing so will only be doing nothing but abating the aims of the enemy.
Remember that you can find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's take a break, and after the break, we will be discussing internet shutdowns across the African continent.
Next, wrong form, blue one.
range from baby blue from
all this serious deserves a glass of not so serious. Come fill yours with Tops at Spa.
Congenital disorders or birth defects are defined as abnormalities of body structure or function that are present at birth.
Some of those defects, they can come as an isolated or they can be in combination with a syndrome.
According to the World Health Organization, 300 million people are affected by depression globally.
One can be depressed as a child, and then later it manifests in early adulthood.
Join us on Health Talk, Saturdays at 9 a.m.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Now, in Zimbabwe, searches for virtual private networks or VPNs are reported to have gone up by more than 1,560%. This as the country has been experiencing an internet shutdown. Now, VPNs are a way to avoid internet or social media restrictions. As protests continue in the Southern African country, the founder of the #ThisFlag movement has been arrested. Pastor Evan Moarire was taken away by police as there are anti-government protests in Zimbabwe. Moarire became popular after an online video that asked people to pledge allegiance to the flag. What followed were calls for people to stay away from work. His latest arrest has happened as the Zimbabwean government has turned off the internet. Mobile network provider Econet sent SMSs to all its customers to say they were forced by the government to do so.
They are alleging that he has incited violence through Twitter and other forms of social media, particularly in the Central Business District. We've asked for full particulars, when, how. They say they don't know. They'll give that to him at the police station. We've asked how asking for people to stay away can constitute incitement to violence. But of course, this is a new dispensation, guys.
The last couple of weeks have seen internet shutdowns in Gabon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, and Zimbabwe. Many have complained about this, but Professor Nyashamboti from the University of Johannesburg says most aren't having meaningful social media conversations about the state Africa is in, even when the internet is on. He says these shutdowns should give us a chance to reflect on that. I chatted to him earlier.
I think when I look at the shutdowns that have happened in Zimbabwe, the latest one, and in the DRC, in Gabon, in Sudan, and other countries, I think it's an opportunity to actually reflect on the meaning of the internet in Africa generally, in the third world and so on, particularly the uses to which we are putting the internet and what it actually means. What does the internet mean? And I think when we're reflecting on this, I think it's important to actually talk about how, for instance, the internet of necessity is a military technology. Now, it's a military technology that's being used for civilian purposes now. But when you're talking about the internet as a military technology, what is it originally meant for? What is it coded to do? Is the internet coded for democracy? Is the internet coded for peace, for justice?
But Prof, uses of the internet have changed over time. Yes, it started in the military, as many technologies start in the military. But doesn't the use then change over time?
It would appear so. But when now the internet is being turned on and off, on a whim, it must provoke us to reflect on, has it really changed this use? Because now dictators can turn it on and off, apparently arbitrarily. Now you can get business people, you can get corporations turning it on and off, apparently on a whim. And that gets us to reflect on these algorithms. So for me, I mean, it's a general issue with the internet itself, but with social media in particular. Facebook, for instance, has literally turned off its dislike button, right? You can only like things. It's a form of censorship, you know, which we do not reflect on, which we do not think about. But when we look at the nature of the internet, it's algorithms, you know. An algorithm is a command, it's an instruction, very specific, where something has to start at a precise point. You start, you execute, you stop. That's what's done in the military. Right. The point I'm making is that these architectures are adversarial architectures. They are conflict architectures. They are coded, for instance, for adversarial purposes. They are coded for deception. They are coded for surveillance. They are coded for getting, for taking advantages of your enemy, as it were.
So you are saying that citizens actually also don't understand that the internet can be used for purposes of surveillance, for purposes that suit the state and not necessarily suit the citizen.
That's possible, but the ambivalence of those algorithms in terms of their relationship to social justice, to democracy, to peace and so on. Like I pointed out, the internet was never coded for justice or for peace or even for social progress. It was coded for adversarial purposes. It's coded for conflict. So even when activists go online, if you look at the nature of the discourse on Twitter, it's conflict driven. It's adversarial. It's competition driven. There is very little dialogue. People believe what they want to believe. People congregate and gravitate towards ideas that they already believe in. Yeah. People have set ideas that are precast.
Are you then saying that once the internet switches back on in Zimbabwe, in the DRC, in Gabon, in Sudan or wherever else, those people are then not going to go back, educate themselves a bit more about what they were advocating for when the internet was shut down, when beyond the hashtag?
The lives that people live in Zimbabwe are the lives that they've been living since just about the 1990s, when the World Bank and IMF imposed structural adjustment programs on the country.
When there was no Twitter,
people were living the same way over 30 years ago, living in a permanent austerity. In 2000s, we had a slogan in Zimbabwe by ZANU-PF, which was Rambai Makashinga, stay strong, because we know the pain you're living in. It's the same permanent austerity from the 90s that's there in the 2000s. Then you have the internet. In 2018, the president is telling people austerity for prosperity, that you must suffer, but you must suffer for the public good, for the future of the country. Now that's more than 30 years of people suffering and being told you'll be fine. And I'm saying, are we saying that once the internet is turned back on, we are going to see that the leaders are going to be lying less, hypocrisy is going to be less, that the thugs who are driving violence in Zimbabwe are going to be gone?
Professor Nyashamboti there is from the University of Johannesburg. This week, we also caught up with actor Raphael Griffiths. He told us what his favorite piece of technology is.
Hey, my name is Raphael Griffiths, and I cannot live without my cell phone. The reason why I can't live without my cell phone is because I do everything on my cell phone, from calling people to social media to even my invoices for work. I use my phone, trust me.
SABC Network, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay with us.
We are outside Layar School, Swaziareneke, where members are picketing against a picture that went viral.
What else do you want to see happen in a country? Peace, security, and respect of human rights.
It's a bit nervous because it's a new start, it's a new environment.
I'm looking forward to learning new things.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Now, global car manufacturers plan to invest billions on electric vehicles technology, and retailers cut iPhone prices in China. These are just some of the top tech stories that made headlines in the rest of the world.
Global automakers are planning a $300 billion surge in spending on electronic vehicle technology over the next 5 to 10 years. With nearly half of the money targeted at China, the car manufacturers will also put EVs into mass production in Europe and North America.
I think a big thing for people is just awareness. They're just not aware of electric vehicles, and specifically, they might not realize how fun they are, and they're probably a lot easier to incorporate into their driving needs than they think.
Rapid technological advances such as better batteries at lower cost have led to EVs being cheaper with longer ranges on a single charge. But the actual spending by automakers on research and development, engineering, production and procurement will likely to be much higher. Off we go to China. Numerous Chinese electronic retailers, including Alibaba-backed Suning and JD.com, have reduced iPhone prices this week after Apple recently blamed poor sales of the smartphones in the country for a rare revenue warning, with the latest iPhone model dropping as much as $207 in some retail stores.
People's Apple craze is on decline, so we have to lower the price to ensure sales.
Some residents, however, said that the price reduction is still not enough, considering the extra high original price.
The price drop is far from enough. I think it should be reduced by at least 30%. Then it would be worthy of the price.
Various Chinese major e-commerce platforms have now launched price reduction strategies to promote sales, and their prices are now cheaper than on Apple's official website. Still on China. This week, the 2019 King of Bots Robot Combat competition kicked off in East China, showcasing cutting-edge robot technology. The competition was held in a fully enclosed field wrapped with bulletproof walls that were 2.54 centimeters thick. For the competition, the two robots faced each other in the arena. Sparks flew as the sharp clattering sounds echoed through the room.
If the robot failed to move more than 2 meters within the 10-second countdown by the referee, then most likely the robot will be disqualified. If neither robot was knocked out within 3 minutes, the referee will count the points and select a winner based on the scores.
The robot builders all place high hopes in their masterpieces, all of them giving their best with eyes fixed on the top prize.
The robot was completed by me and my father. It took us about a month.
The competitors were introduced to China in 2017, and the KOB will be held in around 20 cities in the country this year.
Now, with continued theft of devices in schools, today on Twitter, we are asking who you think should be protecting these high-tech gadgets in township schools. Now, 24% of respondents say the staff at the school. There's 21% that says the government should be doing this. The overwhelming majority of you believe it is the community. That figure is at 48%. There is 7% that responded by saying they don't know. And that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork at sabc.co.za on email. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one. Bye-bye.